Spoiler warning, unless you have beaten The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild after getting the Master Sword and reclaiming all memories, click off this video as it will spoil the ending post-credit cutscene that follows when you unlock all the memories. Now, over to the video. Well, this was a surprise. We expected that Breath of the Wild's DLC Pack 2, The Champions Ballad, would finally get a trailer and release date at the Game Awards last Thursday. We were totally right about that, like we always are, but we had no idea that the release date would literally be that night. So we spent the past weekend playing this expansion to give you our in-depth review on this special episode of Inside Breath of the Wild. Does the Champions Ballad live up to our expectations? Let's find out.
Hello everyone and welcome to this very special episode of Inside Breath of the Wild. Today, Joseph and I, Conrad, will be discussing the content of the Champions Ballad to see if it is worth the $20 price tag for not only this pack but also DLC Pack 1, which was released back in June, that included the excellent Trial of the Sword. DLC Pack 2 also comes with additional outfits like DLC 1, such as the Wind Waker's Lobster Shirt, the Royal Guard set, Phantom Ganon set, and more. But what we're really going to be focusing on in this video is the quest of the Champions Ballad. The Zelda team could have done the second DLC pack in two ways. Either do more of the same, being shrines, challenges, and divine beasts prior to fighting Calamity Ganon, or go beyond with a deep and involving post-game featuring a liberated and eager to retake what was lost Princess Zelda, a new threat, a proper dungeon, and a story that actually unfolds there and then, not 100 years prior.
So we ended up with the first option with this DLC pack. But what does the Champions Ballad offer? For one, you are only able to start this quest once you have completed every divine beast, which means, yep, the Champions Ballad is not set after the game's end. Hyrule remains the same, Zelda is only with us through voice, and Calamity Ganon is still alive. Fittingly, this new set of trials begins back at the Shrine of Resurrection, where Link is handed a new weapon, the one-hit obliterator, which is exactly what it sounds like. However, this means that you also die in one hit, leading into some difficult but fair battles against Bokoblins, Moblins, and Lizalfos on the Great Plateau.
Once you beat a section of enemies, a shrine appears with its own difficult challenges, where you die in one hit. While the Great Plateau in this expansion may sound brutal, it is actually a fair challenge that brings you back to the very beginning of our main quest, and once again, forces you to think and take advantage of the mechanics and strategies found in the game. And when you're done with these shrines, you will receive 4 new spirit orbs to upgrade your health or stamina further. After you complete all the new shrines on the Great Plateau, things start to get interesting. Pillars begin to emerge in the Divine Beast provinces, which then reveal 3 separate locations where the champion trials await. These vary from going through rings, battling a giant monster, or standing in hot lava. Completing each of these tasks will reward you with another shrine, making the total number of shrines included in this DLC 16, and they have some of the best designed puzzles in the game. All of these are solid additions, even though it does get monotonous having to, over a short period of time, go through similar looking shrines over and over again, since, we already did that 100 times in the main game.
When you complete the challenges and shrines, your final task is to replay the Blight Ganon fights, but this time constrained to the local armor and weaponry. Probably the best part about these fights is that you can replay these bosses at any time after completing the Champions Ballad, and beating the boss will reward you with a new cutscene presented by Kaz for each champion. As such, the second act of the Champions Ballad is another line of Kaz's shrine quests, where he first sings about the trials that the champions had to go through, and then after you overcome these and the Blight Ganons, he will sing about the background of the champions. While they do a way better job showing off just how capable these champions were as warriors prior to being inducted as champions, they don't serve greater purpose than being a prologue to the other memories 100 years ago. Absolutely no plot points take place in the present, except for the fact that the deceased champions enhance your champion powers.
In short terms, both of the tasks and memories are more of the exact same objectives you have been completing and uncovering over and over again in the main quest. And that is also the main problem with the Champions Ballad. The 3 acts are linear, seeing that you can't go straight into the final trial, but instead have to first finish the non-linear trials of the Great Plateau, then the non-linear trials of Hyrule, and then be granted access to the Divine Beast and its boss. Unfortunately, the impact of the DLC pack is not as great as it could have been. There is no in-game Zelda, or a cohesive story regarding Link's present-day allies such as Prince Sidon, Yunobo, Tiba, and Riju, who are more static than in the main game. Summed up, there is no major plot development or twists in the Champions Ballad, even if you include the recovered diaries of the different champions. In other words, the puzzle and combat gameplay is as solid as ever, but story and narrative quality is underwhelming, the Yiga clan is a completely missed opportunity, and the lack of attachment to the events there and then is even more apparent than in the main game. Don't take us wrong, as the marketing for this DLC pack clearly promised from the initial announcement of the expansion pass that we will be getting a story-driven quest and a new dungeon. But what kind is the question? If you've been watching us for a while, you know that we've shared our resentments towards the Divine Beast dungeons in the main game, since they were too small, had very little enemies, and boss fights that looked the same. So did we get a traditional Zelda dungeon this time? With more enemies, a unique theme, and nope, it's another Divine Beast. To its defense, however, this is a fusion between a Divine Beast and a simplistic traditional Zelda dungeon. Each room has puzzles from each element and put the Sheikah Slate to great use, but there is still the problem of it being too short and with a small amount of enemies. Granted, there are still more than previous Divine Beasts, they're just different variations of Guardians. Thankfully, the final boss in this beast is a great one, much better than Calamity Ganon and Dark Beast Ganon, and the reward for beating him is the one that will last you the longest. This sweet-ass Master Cycle! No need for those dirty horses, even though with the ancient saddle and bridle, you can now travel at higher speeds for longer, and even teleport your horse where you want. Even so, the Master Cycle Zero is fast, it controls great, and most importantly, it's always available through the Sheikah Slate. So what did we think about the Champions Ballad? Well, the expansion pass is worth $20, especially when you look at the prices of other season passes today, but we still can't help but feel a bit disappointed, mostly because of the story bit that was teased so heavily by Nintendo. When you look at all that is included in this package, the Champions Ballad just feels like a missed opportunity for something that could have been much greater with a little extra effort. We'll admit, part of our disappointment comes from our own expectations that we've set for the Champions Ballad. We still got what was advertised, but it wasn't in the way most of us desired. After the incredibly disappointing ending of the main game, we wanted to see the end fleshed out even further, with a look at how Hyrule would rebuild from the Calamity, and maybe even see Zelda interact with her old friends Impa and the Great Deku Tree. The fact that we didn't see anything remotely close to that is a letdown. However, if you didn't have your expectations as high as we did, and you just want more of these well-designed shrines and a better Divine Beast, then you will find a lot to enjoy in the Champions Ballad, because it is still more of the best game of the year. And who knows, maybe we will get the post-game we've craved, as this might not be the last of the additional downloadable content we'll see for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So look forward to a special episode regarding this and more surprises in another special, this time one in anticipation of the new year.
But until then, do you, the great audience of the realm, agree with our assessment of the Champions Ballad? Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you're new. That'd be greatly appreciated. If you want to support Commonwealth Realm through other means, you can check out their Patreon page, where all these people listed have kindly contributed especially the role producers like me, Mr. Transcendent Sacred Courage, and Kenyatta Ali. And if you want to know more, visit patreon.com/Common Realm. In the meantime, guys and gals, we will see you in the next one.